Hey, welcome back to the Man Cave Workshop. So, moving on with this Robert's Rambler, I'm just going to replace these two capacitors we tested in the last video. Now, they are axial capacitors. This is the one we've took out that was reading ridiculously high, if you remember. I was looking in my stock, and I have got some axial ones of this value, 470, but unfortunately they're a little bit big because they're a higher voltage cap, and they don't, again let me lift up so you can see, they don't really, possibly could squeeze that one in, but it's a bit big. I better check first the space we've got when we put the chassis back in. Now let me get the set the right way around to do that. I'll put it back in. It's going to go that way. Let's put it back in and have a look. So that 470 is going to sit about here where my finger is. So it's got to clear that speaker. Oh, that's huge, that one. Let's move these wires out of the way so you can see better. That one, possibly, no, it would foul. What I have got is some of the I can't remember what they're called, non-actual ones. They're through hole. Are they? I'll have to look up what they're called. Not board mount, are they? Board mount capacitors. Now these guys will fit okay. Got several different ones of them. Let's line them up and you can see them. So I think what we'll do, we'll go with one of these. These are 6.3 volts. This one's a 10 volt, and this one is a, I can't see what voltage value it's got on it, to be fair. Oh, 25 volt, that one. It's not focusing, is it? So that's 25 volt. That'd be the one to go for. Let's see what it reads on the meter. Actually, let's see what this one reads first, because this one's blue, kind of like blue capacitors. So that's reading 440. So I need to work out, I'm going to do it on the phone calculator, percentage of, so it was 470 the original value, so let's do 10% of that. Should be able to do this in my head. 47, of course, 47, 10%. So it could be, what was that? Oh, that one could do. I think we'll go with that one because it's blue. It's 10% low, and it'll only go perhaps high with age. So we'll use this cap, so we'll solder that one in. Do we want to watch me solder a capacitor in? Oh, not sure. There's loads of videos out there on how to do it. But let's do it anyway. This is how I've learned. On these ones, the longer leg's positive, the shorter leg is negative. So, negative side, I put a little mark on the board so I knew which way negative went. And it goes by the speaker that way. So really I want the bulk of the capacitor to be down this end. So I'm going to stick the, let's see how far it'll reach over. I'm just pushing it into the board. There's me saying there's no point in doing a video if you can't see what's going on, and then I hide everything. Let's see how flat we can get that on the board. Let's measure. We're going from there to there ish. Just roughly bending the legs. I don't know which one's positive, that one. Let's pull it through there, get it flush there, and then pull that one through. See what I'm doing? It doesn't look very neat at the moment. Get them in nice and flat. And before we do anything else, let's just bend them over. Let's see if it clears doesn't foul the speaker when it goes back in. Best to test now. And again, let's get it the right way around. Would be that way. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's tight. I think we will manage to get the board back in. It just, if you look, it just about clears. So I'll solder this one in. Well, let's do that on camera. Just tighten this up a little bit because we want this as flush as we can. And should I put a drop of flux on? Let's try without first. Let's see if it takes without. So I've got the flux just in case it doesn't. Let's try without. If you're screaming and shouting saying you should always use flux, then fair enough. I'm just going to try without them. Because these, I know it's pink, the spool, but that's how it came. Rosin coat, solder wire. This should do it. Get the iron. Strike while the iron is hot, as they say. That's one done. Two. Now, as they say, you heat up the work first and then add the solder second. Try and keep it nice and neat without it shorting out anything. There we go, that's that one done. Look at my hands, it's freezing in here. It gets very cold in the man cave workshop in the winter. Let's snip them ends off. So let's have a look. Make sure that's all nice and neat and there's no shorts anywhere. Looks okay to me. Let's pull this 2.2 out. How long are we going now? 7 minutes. Get the right one. That one I think it is. Soon find out. Yeah, there we go, it's out. And the negative, you can see I've marked the board. It's that side. Luckily I had an axial 2.2. These are Vichy ones, the expensive guys. Now on these as well, I did find out to find out the positive end. They usually have a ridge on one side of the capacitor and the other side smooth. So that's how you know which one's which on there. I should clean the solder off the other side of the board with this one because the holes are blocked up. You get a solder braid we're going to use for this. Just bear with me. Right, let's get some of this braid and clean up the old solder off the board. I think we put more on then. Did we? Let's have a look. Yeah, solder sucker. I was on trying the braid because I can't remember where I've put the solder sucker. It'll be knocking around somewhere. Probably the best thing for me to do is pause. I'm not editing, just pausing while I find the solder sucker. Right, okay, found it. So let's clean up where we're working and just heat up the area a little bit. Again, trying not to stay on the board too long. And I don't know if you can see now, but perhaps the light's wrong, I don't know, but it's quite clear now. So what did we say? Negative that end, and the positive through there, and let's have a look. The lighting's not too good for this. I'm going to have to work on the lighting in the man cave, get that reflection off the main light that blocks the view a little bit. Right, I'm just going to pop some solder on there now to hold it in place. That's one done. Check we haven't got a dry joint there. Nope. And let's snip off the the wires. My throat's going a bit croaky again. It's been a bit of a linger, this cold that's gone around the UK in the winter. So that's that in. What we'll do now, let's test it. So what I'll do, I'll pause again, and I'll get a DC power supply on it, an external one which is limited. If you haven't got one, it's quite a must to have in your workshop. If you don't know what they are, just look up DC bench power supplies, and they have a current limiter on them to stop any harm being done should a component fail. I'll just get that fired up and we'll see if it still works. Hey, okay, after a pause when we said let's test it, it's a couple of days later in the Man Cave workshop. Still working on this Roberts Rambler. We've changed these two caps, and now I've just put in these two caps here because we tested these ones. They're 220 UF. Again, out of spec, well out of spec, both of them. So I've just literally dropped in two new 220 capacitors here. Now I'm going to test it now, because if you look, I've not actually soldered these in, because these are Vichy capacitors and they're not the cheapest, but because I've not done a Rambler before, I thought I'd treat this to the best I have in stock, which I tend to do that. You build up a load of stock slowly of capacitors and stuff. And I'm putting these in. So I've just rigged it up to 9 volts on the DC power supply limiter. It's connected to the speaker. Another thing with these, it's so good. What I noticed is the speaker wires they give you to them, you can actually work on the set without disconnecting the speaker. They're literally that long. Because I'm a bit clumsy when I'm working. I have been disconnecting the speaker wires, but what a great thing. I wish other radio sets would do that. I mean, look how much distance you've got in between the actual case and the board with the speakers still connected. Fantastic, that. So these are just literally plonked in. They're not soldered in, but I've made sure they're making contact, and probably not best practice, but I want to test it with them in. Immediately.
Stand on the street and wait for somebody.
We've got sound. Like I say, I am testing this as I go along, just in case it fails after replacing one or two of these capacitors. So what I'm going to do now is carry on, guys. Let's move them speaker eyes out of the way. It's getting these lovely Vichy caps here. We've done these two. This one clears the speaker when it goes back in the case. Made sure of that. And just these two little guys here to do. Might as well. Now we've come this far with the 6 capacitors in it. Now we've come this far. We've changed 4. We might as well do these. Just it wouldn't feel good to leave these in, even if they're in spec, because they're old. While we're at it, why not? So I'm going to pause the video again. Next time you see it, I'll have changed the lot, and we'll retest it again. I'm sorry if this video is going on a bit longer than usual. But I am doing one a week. I'm hoping to get them out at weekends. So let's carry on with this. I'll pause this now. So there we go, that's all 6 electrolytic capacitors done on this Roberts Rambler. And it's got very excited about it by the look of its tuning needle. Anyway, so let's have a look at them. There's the 6 we took out. I'm trying to get this in focus for you. This one was a 10 UF cap, this one was 100. These 2 were 220s, this one was a 470, and this one, I'm saying was, this is what they are, the replacements, and this one is a 2.2. As you can see, if you do this sort of work, these are Vichy caps, they're quite expensive. They're what I had in, and I kind of quite like using them because I don't really do hundreds of restorations on radios like yearly. I only do one every few months. And there's nothing wrong with using cheaper caps at all. We can get them cheap, and they are in spec when you test them before you put them in. They are much better than these old guys that you're taking out if these are out of spec. A lot of people say, oh, why change them? They do get old, they do dry up. I do care what people say, but why not change them? These guys are going to fail eventually, instead of leaving them in. So let's look at the other side of the board. Let's check out my work. Like I say, I'm not claiming to be an expert on this, but if you can see, we could try and get it in focus and light. I've not lifted any tracers. I've kept it as neat as I can, the soldering. I use a soldering iron by a company called Antex. I've used cheaper soldering irons in the past, and to be honest, I'm so glad I've moved to Antex now. It's such a good soldering iron. It's such a good soldering iron. I'm going to stay with Antex. It's my preferred weapon of choice. All I'm going to do now is clean up the back of the board for any flux. I'd used it now and again. This is the flux I use. It's a paste flux. Again, an electrical flux. Don't use plumber's flux. And I'm going to clean up the back of the board with this stuff called isopropanol. Now you can use, well, no, really, you shouldn't use anything other than a product that is like this. It can get confused with white spirit, but if you do use white spirit, or what's the other name for white spirit? I can't remember. Stuff you use for cleaning brushes and stuff. What that will do is leave an oily residue on the board. This stuff won't, isopropanol won't leave any oily residue behind, because when it evaporates, there's basically nothing left. There's a few guys, you can see the muck coming off that actually. There's a few guys that have done some very funny videos. Well, there's one guy in particular. I'm going to put a few links to, if you're interested in this stuff, repairing old radios. I don't mind bigging them up, because there are quite a few guys out there that are much more knowledgeable than me. If you stumble across this video, please look in the description, because I'm going to add a few YouTube channel names that you should be looking at. These are all UK based. There's people further afield that are absolutely brilliant as well, and it's a great place to get knowledge and learn how to do these things properly. The other thing I'm going to do, and I'm sorry this video is dragging on because, well, not because, it's just that I read the comments, guys. I try to reply to some, but I read all the comments, and one guy said, oh, I think your video was a few minutes too short, the last one, the first one I've done. So I've made this one a bit longer, because I take on board what people want to see and hear. These switches, while this is all open, this is a switch bank, this, and it's got little contacts in it. So what I'm going to do is squirt a little bit of cleaner down them, and while it's all out, you can squirt from the top as well. I'm using this stuff at the moment, which there's lots of different cleaning stuff out. I actually, one of my favourites is this. I do like it a lot. Another stuff I use is this, and there's stuff called Deoxit, which I don't have any. It's rather expensive, but really, really good stuff. And just putting a little squirt down the tops of the switch bank, and a little squirt in the bottom of the switch bank housing, and it's splashing all over the place. Just going to leave that soaking for a little minute and work it in by just pressing like a piano key, using, or in this case it'd be a trumpet. Imagine playing a trumpet. Turn it upside down, do it. This is just what I like to do, and I turn it on its side, and then turn it on its other side, just to work all that in. The other thing I'm going to do is this potentiometer for the volume. There's a little gap down there, so I'm going to squirt some of this electrical contact cleaner into there as well, and then just work this potentiometer around to get it in, get it all nice and clean. When you're doing this, you can actually feel it freeing up years of muck that's been in there. One of the guys I am going to mention, and he actually gave me this stuff, is called Codeeze. Thank you very much. If you don't subscribe to his channel, please do. Another guy, Radiocruncher, I'm going to mention him. He's got a great channel. Another guy is called Chrisofi. I'm going to put these in the description. He also has a great channel. Another guy you can learn a hell of a lot off is a guy called Chris, and his channel is called AllTheGearNoidea. Hope he doesn't mind me mentioning his first name there. AllTheGearNoidea, all one word. Superb channel. There's another guy called Andrewausfa. I struggle pronouncing the name, but I'll put his name in the description. I'm just saying these guys, these are just ones I'm pulling off the top of my head while I'm working on this Rambler. Just mentioning these guys because if you don't already subscribe to them, you really should do. They are superb. Harvey is another good one. There's so many. These are the ones that I tend to watch the most of that I'm saying. And if you're watching this and you have a channel and I haven't mentioned you, please forgive me. As you know, guys, there's so many out there, and I'm going to try and put a few in the description, just in case anybody that's never worked on one of these radios before has stumbled across this because it says Robert's Rambler. Just to get word out there that there are guys around the UK doing some absolutely fantastic restoration work, and they're putting it out on YouTube, and it's really good to support them and subscribe to their channel and learn a lot from them guys. I'm just the tip of the iceberg novice. Right, let's plug this speaker back in, give this unit a test, and see how we go. Again, if you a channel that, and you know me and I know you and I haven't mentioned you, many apologies. I will remember when I finish this video. Right, let's see. Fingers crossed. Does it still work? No. Nothing. Okay, so what's gone wrong? Have we got the power leads on the right way? Have we got power on? Oh, look at that. See, these things happen. I'm not going to unedit it. It's not working. We've got the speaker wires plugged in here. You guys might have seen that while I was fiddling about, turning it round. The speaker wire has come off its terminal, which is in between these two capacitors here. So what I'm going to do is I'll just solder that back in pause the video again, because I've got to reheat the soldering iron. I turned it off, and then see if that cures why it's absolutely dead. These things are here to try us, aren't they? Okay, I'll pause again, and then we'll test it again, and fingers crossed it will work. Right, okay, I've soldered the speaker wire back on. If you spotted that earlier on in the video and you were screaming and shouting, said, "Oh, it will never work because that's off." Well spotted. I didn't spot it, but we're back on now. So let's. I'm going to hit the power button over here. It's got 9 volts ready to go into it. Yeah, there we go.
And recovered from that heavy challenge that resulted in the yellow card for Nakamba earlier in the game. And here is Nakamba.
That's what we gotta do, Marty. And you gotta make the speeches so that they see you saying it.
What are you trying to do? Get him killed?
The men gotta hear him say it, Terry.
Say what? That Rocky's a gangster? What is Rocky?
So there we go. It's alive and working again. Now it's got its speaker wire connected. Something so simple could cause so much heartache. Like I say, if you spotted that earlier on, I didn't until the end. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap this video up now, quite a long one, and electrically I'm going to have a rest from the electrical side of this set now, because we know it's working and everything. I'm going to put this on one side. I don't think it's come out too bad. I've got the shiny tops for these buttons, we'll do that later. And we'll turn our attention to the cosmetic side. Now in this light and everything, this case looks pretty good, but I'll tell you what guys, in the flesh, it's not too happy. It's going to need a bit of work. We're going to have to drag the speaker out. I'm going to have to do a lot of work on the grill. The badge is lovely. Looks pretty good, the badge. These, like we said before, these brights, they're pretty terrible. There's been a few comments on using nail varnish and stuff. Thank you very much. Heed all the comments. So I might not be applied to some, but I heed all the comments. But we could flip them over. What we could do is both. We could try to restore these marks, like that one. See how it comes out. And put them underneath anyway, because the top side of that one looks great. This one's pretty dreadful, the chrome work on that. And where this scratch is here has actually run through a little bit to the underside of this one. And there's a mark there. So we could do the nail varnish stuff. There is a modeller's chrome sort of felt tip pen that I always forget the name of. But might order one of them, see how that goes. And we'll do the case. While all this has been going on and I pulled the speaker wire off, I also had another bad thing happen. My box full of axial capacitors fell off the bench and is all mixed up now. So I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes or so sorting all them back out to their relevant boxes. And if you've watched this to the end of this video, thank you very much. Like I say, have a look at other people's videos as well. And yeah, thanks for watching to the end. Thanks for subscribing. If you like this kind of stuff, then great. Give us a comment. If you think I'm doing it all wrong, then give us a comment saying so, really. I'm pretty thick-skinned. I don't mind. I just do it as a hobby. For me, it's a fun pastime where I'm learning new skills all the time. So, yep, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, be good to each other. And I'll catch you in the next video next week. Cheers, guys.